Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Halo 5 textbook series. Episode 2 is going to be on communication. Now I know I said last week I was going to talk about teammates and support and teamwork, but I thought some of the points I was talking about were probably a little too complex for where we are right now. I kind of want to talk about the more basic fundamentals first. So we're going to spend an episode talking about communication. I'm going to run you through a few points now of my viewpoint on it, and then I'll run you through a quick gameplay that I played last night in the Does Play tournament, which is a decent example of sort of how to apply what I'm talking about. First point to make, obviously, is knowing the map callout. You just want to spend a bit of time going around the maps, learning all the callouts. That's one very basic thing you can do. Another thing is, if you notice you're in a game and there's a player that's in a spot and you don't know what to call out, you're going to need to go and make a call out for that spot, or talk to your teammates, or talk to other players and find out what that call out is. Next point is calling out mid-fight. So a lot of players go quiet during their gunfights. A gunfight can last like anywhere between like 1 and 10 seconds. You're able to call out that whole time. And I know sometimes it is hard to call out while you're shooting, and it can put your shot off if you're not used to it, but it's something that you have to get used to, because all of the pros are able to do it, and it basically means you're going to get help from your teammates that much quicker. If you're waiting until you're dead to make the call out, well, you could have got help from your teammate during that time if you're able to call out while you're shooting. If I'm pushing an area with Colt and I start fighting somebody, I'll say, Colt, there's somebody carbine 2 one shot. Rather than just calling out car 2 one shot, I'm actually calling it to a specific person, so they're more likely to respond to my call. And that brings me to my next point about personalized calls. So something you want to do nearly 100% of the time is be calling out to your teammates, not at your teammates. When you see a player that's weak and you want finished, you need to call it to a teammate. So the teammate that's closest to it, or the teammate who you feel can respond best. If you're just calling out one shot P2, one shot P2, it just can get lost in the scheme of things when everybody's yelling out callouts. If you call out Colt, there's a player one shot P2. Colt will instantly hear his name be called and then respond to that call, given that he's in a position to respond to that effectively. Another thing is with the personalized calls and being able to do that is you're sort of identifying where your teammates always are. If you get somebody one shot and there is no teammates around to finish it, there's really not a whole lot of point in calling it out, because you're kind of just cluttering the chat with stuff that doesn't really matter. Keep a mental note that there's a player, whatever, across the map that's one shot, so that as you're pushing up with the team, you know roughly where one is. But there's no point in you stressing a call of a one shot in the back of their flag if you have teammates pinned in your base. You're just cluttering the chat with pointless calls. So next thing that you need to be doing all the time as well is calling out what you were doing. Something I noticed playing with some of these up and coming players and just in general customs, a lot of players are just yelling out call outs. P2 one shot, there's 2 at red 2, blah blah blah. What you want to be cluttering the chat with more is what you are doing and what you want to be happening. Let's say I spawn in blue base on truth and I want to push P2. I'm going to say straight away, I'm pushing pink 2. Now ideally I'm going to say I'm pushing pink 2 Colt, or a player that's near me, so that they can react to what I'm doing and they can help me. But otherwise I'm just going to call out what I'm doing, so that information is out there. My team knows that, okay, we have a player pushing pink, so I can back that player up if I'm in the position to do it. It's a lot better than sort of pushing pink without telling anybody, getting 3 players one shot, and then after you're dead going, there's 3 one shots of P2, and now you've got nobody in position to help you because nobody knew you were pushing that area. It's a massive thing, telling your team what you were doing and what you would like to happen, and then you can take it one step further, like I said, and set up a play. I can say, Bald, I'm going to go P2, cover me from our pink street. Then you've got a little play set up, and then you have help, and you know where you have help from. And the more often you do this, the more natural it's going to become too, and you won't need to call that out. Players in XL5, we've played together for long enough now where I can just say, Jake, I'm pushing car 2, and instantly he'll react to where I am and I'll react to where he is, and we'll set up a play without having to say it, because we've done it that many times, and that's where you want to get to. But you're not going to get there without originally calling out, I'm going to push the ramp, cover me from the bubble, you know, something like that. So you want to be talking to your teammates. You want to be saying what you're doing and what you want to be happening as much as you can, rather than just clogging the chat with a whole bunch of call-outs. And you see Walshy commenting on it when teams are losing and they're down and they go to the listen-ins. It's just 4 guys yelling out call-outs rather than saying, let's push this, let's push that, I'm going to do this. So it brings me on to my next point of small talking your plays. So same sort of thing, calling out a play that you want to do. You know, for example, something I'll do a lot is on truth. If I've got a player at P2 and I want to push the base, I will say, stay P2, I'm going to go on the shelf, cover me. So I know I've got a player at P2 above me, and I know I'm going to be on the shelf. And the only way the players in the base can get to me is by exposing themselves to the guy at P2. And so basically, if they want to kill me, they've got to make a mistake, and we're going to get the kills that way. And the other thing that happens when you do that and you are working with somebody, it doesn't really matter how cluttered the chat is, you will just tune into that person's calls. You will sort of zone a lot of the other people out, and you'll kind of just be tuning into that person's calls, and you both won't need to call out as much. If I know I'm working with somebody P2, I don't need to call out there's somebody in red 2, because I know they're already looking there. And then it frees the chat up for other people who really need to make calls to actually make them. And so when you're working with your teammate like that, you're sort of just focusing on each other until that immediate danger's gone. And then you can look to kind of help teammates across the map and whatever, you know. But when you are working with a teammate, you really, really want to focus on staying working with them. Don't get distracted by a call across the map, you know, unless it's like an immediate threat to you. You really want to stay with your teammate, because that teammate's relying on you to do your job that you've set out to do, and vice versa, you know. And if one of you bails, well, the whole play's falling apart and you're both probably going to die. And just a couple of general notes I want to talk about. Don't panic your calls. That's one major thing so many players do, is every one shot they get, they panic it like it's the most crucial kill they're ever going to get. Like, we even had an issue in XL5 where people would be shooting someone across the map on Coliseum and would get them one shot when we're all stuck in our base, and that person would start panicking the one-shot call across the map and cluttering the chat with it as if that call was ever going to get finished. The only calls you ever want to panic are when an enemy is like an immediate threat to your teammate and your teammate's unaware. If an enemy sneaks past your whole team and is flanking, you know, that's a call you kind of want to panic a little bit. Or if there's a player running up behind one of your teammates, you know, you want to panic something like that. But other than that, you want to keep it very calm. Just put the information out there, put the information to the right people, and then let them make decisions on their own. You don't want to be panicking a call out, because you're kind of going to wreck your teammates' decision making. You know, if I've got something set in my mind that I'm pushing this with that player, and then someone starts freaking out about another call and starts saying, Adam, there's one shot, I kind of have to bail on my own play to get this one shot. Now, like I said, that's good if that player is like an immediate threat to me, but if that player is not an immediate threat, you know, you're kind of mucking up plays for your teammates. So just keep the calls calm and just put the information out there and let your teammates kind of make their own decision. Alright, that's about it for the general notes, guys. So I'm going to go through this gameplay with you now and sort of try and explain how I was communicating with my teammates last night that does play. Alright, so we're starting the game off. I've called I'm going to go pink side with Slazy here. Slazy's called out that he got killed by somebody P2. You know I don't have a whole bunch of help, so I'm backing off that call. Pip's come out to help me now, which is great, but we've gotten flanked from in the base. Not a whole lot we can do there, but Pip did respond to the call in the base and finish that player off, which is good. So I've spawned Carbine now. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to secure Carbine, so I know that there's no danger to me. Unfortunately, a camo player pushes me, so I thought I had Carbine secured, but I didn't. But I still had players there working with me who cleaned up the kill anyway, and that's a camo player dead for one death, so that's a good trade. Now, right now, I'm talking to Jake. I'm saying I've told Jake, let's control Carbine. So me and Jake know we're working with each other. We're tuned in to each other's calls. Now, there is players across the map at P2. We don't need to worry about them right now. What we need to worry about is helping each other clear out Carbine first and just talking to each other. You know, I know Jake's car 1, so I've got that one shot. I'm not going to chase that. I'm going to try and let Jake finish that call off for us. This player's kind of snuck past us, which is a bit unfortunate. But now I'm still working with Jake on keeping these players pinned in the base. And as you can see, me and Jake have still got Carbine control, while Slays and Pip are working on getting pin control. You know, not the greatest play by me there. I definitely shouldn't have poked out and challenged that, but still working with Jake at Carbine. Off spawn now, I've told Jake, stay alive, I'm coming to you as quick as possible. You know, Jake's done a great play here by just staying alive when he knew he didn't have help. Now, once again, Jake and I are working together at Car 2, and we're just going to be tuned into each other's calls. And our first priority is going to be clearing out Carbine side and then focusing on the rest of the map. So now that we've cleared out Carbine, I'm looking across to P2. I can help the rest of my teammates. Fortunately, I've run out of battle rifle ammo, so I've had to completely switch our play up here. Now, see, at this point here, I just want to pause. I was working with Jake. I called to Jake, let's push into the base car side because we've kind of got a collapse set up. Now, I didn't realize Jake had already moved to top middle. So I called Jake, let's push the car, and Jake said, I'm not with you, I'm top middle. So now I know. I've communicated what I wanted to happen, and Jake has said to me, Adam, I can't do that, I'm top middle. So now I know, alright, I'm by myself, I can't push as hard as I want anymore. So now I sort of take this push a little bit slower, rather than just going in guns blazing like I was going to. I backed off a little bit, waited for players to get weak, and then pushed in. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to control Carbine. Now this time I'm working with Slays. So Slays has called out this guy's one shot, so I push in straight away for the finish. And our player was crouching there, which is really unfortunate. You know, we thought we had car control, we thought we were able to collapse on the base, but that's a good little sneaky play by Deathraptor there. So off spawn now, we're actually getting collapsed on. Jake and I are going to try work on pushing out Carbine side again, but it's a little bit too late. The player's already collapsing. They actually did a really good collapse just then to not let us sort of move at all. Same thing again off spawn. Jake and I are going to push out Carbine. We kind of got little set roles in this game. It just ended up being that Jake and I were the ones always trying to control Carbine side, which is a big thing you want to do in Truth Slayer. But once again, another good collapse by Paragon. Pip's doing a great play here by staying alive under the base. And, you know, making them take their time. So yeah, once again, pushing out Carbine side with Jake. Jake and I know we're working with each other. I had Jake's help there, even if I didn't get the kill. Now Jake's gone down, and he's called out that there's one player left in the car side. And now I'm calling him out to the players in the base. All good. I still know I'm alone at Carbine, so I'm sort of not exposing myself to the other side and just helping my teammates. Now, I know I'm by myself, I just get shots on that guy and I back off. Jake's told me he's coming. Jake said, Adam, I'm coming to you at Carbine, so I know I'm not going to challenge anything until Jake gets here. I'm just going to keep these players weak. You know, me and Jake are talking to each other right now. He finished off my one shot at Car1, and now I'm helping him finish the other player. Unfortunately, they got a funny split spawn on us there. You know, I know I'm by myself again, so I'm just sort of trying to get players weak and stay alive without really challenging too much, and we've cleaned up that kill. Now Jake and I have got control of Carbine again. Now I could go into sort of in-depth strategy on what we're doing here and why I'm shooting across map, but I want to really just focus on the communication aspect of what's happening right now. Once again, I ran out of BR ammo, really annoying play, and Slazy grabbed the car line and his pistol's flown out to top middle, so I've had to sort of break what I wanted to do to go get this pistol. So I don't really want to be in this situation right now, but it's okay. I know I'm working with Slazy right now, we're both controlling Carbine, and I know there's no immediate threats to us. You know, I can help my teammates across the map now, because they can't really push me at Carbine without exposing themselves to a crappy situation. So I'm just helping my teammates now across map. I'm calling out to Pip, they're weak at P2, you can push it, which he does. At this point, I'm out of pistol ammo, so I call to Slazy, let's collapse on this base, because that's really all we can do. So I know I've got help from Slays. We've both pushed in, we both collapsed in this base. You know, we didn't just make call-outs and just decide to do that. That was a conscious thing of saying, let's collapse on a base, you know, we're talking to each other. At this point here, I'm letting the other guys sort of do their thing at Carbine side. I just wanted to watch Pink side, but that camo guy got in my face and marked our player. So that's a really good play from Paragon there. Yeah, spawn at Carbine now. I know we've got Carbine control, so I know I really want to get control of the base here. So I've called to Pip, let's push this base. Now Pip's called out there's a one-shot at P2, and he's also... He called out there was a one-shot at P2, and then he also called there's somebody pushing their Pink street. Now, I didn't want to have to come up against two players. I was really just pushing there to finish that one-shot at Pink 2. So I'm sort of in a crappy situation, but because I was working with Pip, I was in tune with his call-outs. He said, one pushing their Pink street, so now I know, alright, there's two players on me here. I grenade that guy, kill him, and I know there's still a player around, and I know that I can't get help from the base, so I'm not really trying to do much here. I'm just trying to stay alive and help my other teammates. Yeah, unfortunately, I get cleaned up there. Like I said, the whole play was kind of deconstructed with the fact there was two there. We definitely could have done some more stuff with players in the base. I know P2 is free right now, and I also know there's a sword guy above me, so I'm just trying to get away from him. Now what I'm going to be focusing on doing is controlling P2. So at this point here, I thought the sword guy was going to chase me up the street, which is why I sat on that side. He didn't end up doing that. He comes quite late. But regardless, somebody called him out and I finished him off. Because I've called to my team I'm controlling P2. Now I made a mistake there in pushing out when I was one shot. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. Now what I want to do again, I've called, so we're getting collapsed on there in blue base. And I've called, I've got a flank spawn. I said, push Carbine guys, I've spawned behind them, and I know we can pinch them at Carbine. I was kind of hoping there was more than one player here. There was only one player, but regardless, we've got a nice pinch going on this player at Carbine now, and it gives our team room to move out of car side of the base. So now we're not getting collapsed on anymore. You know, I should have waited that extra 1 to 2 seconds there because I knew Jake was coming to help me. You know, so I was a little bit too aggressive there. I needed to wait for my teammate to help. Yeah, he had called out to me that he was coming to help. Pip's been calling out a one-shot. I said, Pip, stay alive as long as you can. I'm coming to help. And he wasted a lot of that time, which is great. Now, at this point here, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to make this base look open to the enemy team. I want to let them think there's nobody in here and they can push it. So what I'm telling Slazy right now, Slazy, back off. I've got this base covered. He takes a little while to respond to that call, probably like a little bit too long, because I bait that player to push in and I finish him off. Slazy lives, which is fine, but Slazy knew that I had a plan to bait them in there because I communicated that to him and he let that play happen. And once again, I'm still working with Slazy, so we're in tune with each other's call-outs. Game's quite close at this point, so it's really slowing down. Just across the map there, Pip got a little bit too aggressive. He was supposed to be kind of working with Jake there, but something happened and it fell apart. I don't think the communication was quite right. Otherwise, they could have set up a really good play with having cover from P2. So right now, I'm working with Slays. We know that we're pressuring the guys at Carbine side. So that's what we're working on right now. I've called to Slays, I'm pushing bubble, so he knows where I am. I've called out this player car 2, Slays has reacted to that, and I'm backing off because I know I'm not in a great position. But because I got into that bubble and I was working with Slays, that player actually got baited out, and Slays cleaned him up, which is a great play. Now Slays and I both have got the call out that there's 2 players at car 2. We've also got the call out from Jake across the map that they're not looking, that they're distracted. So Jake's told us they're distracted on him at P2, so we know we're pretty much free to push up. So we decide to push up. I get melted quite quickly, but at the end of the day, Slays cleans up the kill and we win the game 50-49. So, you know, it sort of just reiterates the point that, like, literally that entire game, all 4 of us were constantly talking to each other and constantly organizing little plays. You know, I was always saying, Jake, push Carbine with me. Slazy, push Carbine with me. I did a lot of car pushing that game. But I was always working with somebody, and we were always working with each other and talking to each other. And like I said, once you start working with somebody, you do tend to get in tune with their calls and everything, and you drown everything else out, and it just makes teamwork easier to happen. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of the Halo 5 textbook series. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave comments down below of what you'd like to see in the next episode. Alright, thanks guys.